Whoa. Okay. We are live for this first time. For this first video, we are relaunching our YouTube channel. Tried it a couple of times. The tests went well, so we'll see how this one works. Throughout the course of the seasons that we follow, on the football side of things, Broncos, Rams, Buffs, and Bears, UNC Bears. Same on the basketball side, throwing the Nuggets and the Avalanche on that. But throughout those seasons and even in the summer months, we're going to be putting together some short videos that will go along with the program. Again, if you are a hooligan, if you're a fan of the show, we air live on 103.1 and 1310 KFKA, as well as 1310KFKA.com, Monday through Friday, 12 to 2 o'clock Mountain Time. But this is something we're going to be doing kind of outside of the show. And as we do this now, it's 8:35, Friday, November 19th. Kind of wanting to get into this Nuggets thing last night. Nuggets lose to the 76ers, 89-103. In a game where I kind of felt like they were cooking in the first half because of Nikola Jokic and Will Barton. Is disappointing that third period. Just absolutely ugly for this Nuggets roster. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to look into it throughout the day on the show at 12 o'clock. Also, you got the Paradise Jam. Colorado State's in that. The Colorado Buffaloes are in that. In fact, our poll question of the day, if those two square off, I think it would be the championship game. I think that's where it would look. Who do you think is going to win? Go to thewholeshow.com to vote on that. So, all right, as we grow these videos, they're going to be a lot of fun. We're going to get into some post-game, pre-game, top, with big sports news comes up, 12-team playoff in college football. We'll hit all of that stuff and discuss it throughout the days, throughout the weeks here on the Whole Show YouTube channel. So please do me a favor, subscribe, stick with us, follow along. Want you to be a part of the program, commenting and adding things as we go. So bear with me. First time doing the video side of things. So we'll learn it as we go. Let's go to the Nuggets. Let's talk about the Nuggets. They lose again, 103-89 to the Sixers. Joel Embiid's out. You have a couple of guys out for Philly, so they weren't full strength. So it's one of those games where you're, and I know the Nuggets aren't either, but you're still hoping that Joker, Barton, the emergence of Bones Highland, the Aaron Gordon, these guys can lift you and win games like that. And when you look at the box score, I've got it in front of me. I put it on my phone here. I mean, Joker was absolutely a monster in the first half. Slow down the second, but still ended with 30. He's that good now where he doesn't have to produce at all in the second half. And he put up 30 points. 30 points, 7 assists, 10 boards. I mean, it's MVP numbers, right? Will Barton, who I have been extremely impressed with this season. He is becoming more of a consistent scorer, which is really exciting to see. He had 19 points, 8 assists, and 9 rebounds. Amazing numbers for him. That is that 19 points in the mix of rebounds and assists, those are the kind of numbers you want to see from Jamal Murray when he's healthy. Ultimately, the kind of numbers you want to see from Michael Porter Jr. The rest of it, I mean, that's where the positives end at this point. You go and say, wow, Aaron Gordon had 9. Okay. Austin Rivers is in this, Monte Morris had 11. All right, not bad. Jeff Green starts for you, has 0 points. That's not the worst of it, though. When you go to the bench, and again, keep in mind, the bench points are spread out a little bit more because there was some garbage time late in this game. 6, 2, 2, 3, 2, 5. I mean, that's when you, at the end of the game, that's when you look at the leading scorer off the bench was JaMychal Green with 6. At one point, I mean, at the end of that third period, I think they were like 6 points. It was awful. And that was kind of the issue first off for the Nuggets was when we looked at the bench and we said, yikes, what happens when Joker goes out? What happens to this team? I'll tell you what happens. It's a completely different team. The Nuggets without Joker are not the Nuggets. They don't look anything alike. Now, Barton, we saw the one game without Joker, which they won, and you had a Will Barton absolutely light it up. So that's the good thing that we're talking about today. We already know what Joker's doing. He's already fighting for that MVP spot. He's going to be an MVP type player for the rest of his career, barring injury, right? Will Barton proved that he could carry this team for a game. Michael Porter Jr. continues to be out, which is a concern with the back injury. And then we obviously know the story about Jamal Murray. So whenever you talk to Nuggets fans or anybody in the know on the Nuggets, we all kind of take a deep sigh and we go, take a deep breath. Can the Nuggets survive to March, April? I mean, that's what we're told. is when we're going to see Jamal Murray back in the mix. Can we count on that? Not sure. Even if we can count on that and he's back, is he going to be the same player? Is Jamal going to be the same player that we've seen over the years? Is he going to be bubble Jamal Murray? Well, no, bubble Jamal Murray was maybe one of the best at that point, one of the best in the league, that stretch that he went on. So when we look at this, the question is, can the Nuggets do it with just Joker and Barton scoring and being big parts? The answer is no. We don't have to freak out, because you saw it in that 4-game winning streak. You saw it in the winning streak at, okay, you're seeing Aaron Gordon play really tough defense, and he's becoming big. Bones Highland, we've said it all year, doesn't look like a rookie. For the first time this season, Bones Highland looked like a rookie last night, which is totally fine. That's fair. For us to expect Bones to come out and put up monster performances every single night as a rookie is really unrealistic, and it's going to set up for some heartbreak. So relying on him is going to be tough. Unfortunately, that's where they are, especially coming off that bench. Because when you look at it, who do you really have confidence in on the bench coming off of it? JaMychal Green? Bol, who's now getting playing time. Campazzo, who we love, energy guy, but is he a consistent guy? Is he a guy that you rely on? I mean, Austin Rivers can have some moments, sure, but again, a guy that you're not. PJ Dozier, it's a guy you want to see take the next step. But you're at that stage where who do you trust? And if it's Bones Highland, great, but don't expect it. I mean, Michael Malone typically doesn't play young guys as much as what we've seen with Bones. And you see why, kind of why last night, which was one of those rough nights. Although, again, I think he is going to be one of those players all season where we continuously say he's not playing like a rookie. So there's concerns about the depth. There's concerns about the starting lineup surrounding the Joker and surrounding Barton. I mean, Michael Malone said it a few weeks ago, at this rate, Nikola Jokic won't survive to Christmas. He, all the pressure, all the stress. I mean, he came in that fourth period, I think it was like with 8 or 9 minutes left. So, I mean, he barely got a rest because Malone was, and again, he comes out late. So because game was over, we're in garbage time. But Malone knew, hey, we're down, I don't know, were they down 13 or so in the fourth? They got down by like 16 at one point and kind of started to cut into that lead. And Malone, it wasn't Malone because he got ejected, but the coaching staff looks at that situation and says, if we want to win this game, we got to get Joker back in there. We can't go off of our blueprint structure of minutes. So they throw him back in. They take a couple of shots at it, and ultimately they're out. So that's what it is. This team without Nikola Jokic, even with Barton producing, without Nikola Jokic, this team's not a playoff team. This team's, I'm not going to go to as far as say as a lottery team, but they're not anything special. And I hate to say that because there's a lot of great players, a lot of fun players that we like on this team, but you're really wanting to see the PJ Doziers take off. You're wanting to see Campazzo be more of a consistent guy rather than just an energy guy. Aaron Gordon, I want to see I know I'm not going to see the superstar in Aaron Gordon at this stage. I know we're not going to see that guy. He's more of a complement to what the Nuggets are doing now. Defensive guy, can play tough in the paint, come up with some big plays. That's what we're expecting. But when the Nuggets are losing, and again, 2 in a row now, this is how the season goes. It's just, we're probably going to have a 4-game winning streak, and we're going to talk about lifting the trophy pretty soon. But that's how this thing goes. So when you get into these little stretches of a couple of losses here and there, and then you look at, okay, Porter's out, Murray's out, can this team survive to March? Meaning, can they be a top 5 seed? Again, we have the play-in situation too. So you're really fighting for to get into that 6th spot. So you're guaranteed an actual round of playoffs. And the other thing is, Joker is going to, right now he's got MVP numbers. It's him and Curry. Durant's in there, but it's Joker and Curry. And I'm going to use the same argument that I used last year for Joker against Joker this year. I didn't think Curry should be really considered for the MVP because his team was a play-in team. Joker, they were top 5, top 4 seed. And so I look at MVP and say, okay, how valuable are you if you're not if you're not a deep team in the playoffs, if you're not a top team in the conference. So I do look at that. And unfortunately, the Nuggets are sitting at what, 9-6? It's not bad. They're kind of floating around that a few games over 500. But I think if Joker's going to make that push again, and we already know the NBA has a bias toward him for whatever reason, but if Joker's going to make that push, then this team collectively has to him out. They have to get to the top 4 or 5 seed again, because Golden State's not slowing down. Golden State's not slowing down at all. So you got to watch out for that team throughout this process. And you just hope that the bench can step up. Somebody on the bench has to step up. Somebody else has to be a guy that you can rely on to make big plays and big moments. And Will Barton's one of those guys. But typically in the NBA, you see teams signing, you get the big 3 for a reason. The big 3 and maybe a semi-4. Denver has that in their contracts. Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr., Nikola Jokic, and then Aaron Gordon. I never really said Barton was the big 5, but sure starting to feel like it. But you got to have somebody else contribute a little bit. I mean, again, the stat line, you can't have 30, 19, and then the next in line is 11. 30, 19, 15, 30, 19, 18, or 30, 24, and 19. You got to have those. You have to have 3 of those guys doing that, unless your starter is getting in the 40s. I'm serious. That's where you are. So a lot to think about today. We're going to get into more of this on the show today, but I just kind of thinking about it on my drive into work today, into the studios. And as great as Joker is, as much as we've been impressed with Will Barton, my question is, is this sustainable? Is this right now sustainable? And Michael Porter Jr., without the back injury, again, Austin Rivers says he thinks he's been battling the back injury throughout the course of the season, which makes sense. But even when he was on the floor, Porter has yet to show us that he's worth that contract. So even when we say, well, without Porter, he wasn't really a big factor yet. The scoring wasn't there. Looks a little better on defense, a little better as far as rebounding. But I ultimately look at this and say somebody's got to be the guy. And who is it? Who is it? I mean, is it just another starter on this roster that needs to be a stud? Is it Aaron Gordon that needs to be floating in the 15-point range? Are we really going to put that much pressure and stress on Bones Highland? Somebody has to be the guy. Who do you think it's going to be? Who's going to be the other guy beside Joker and Will Barton at this point that will step up off the bench or in the starting rotation that's going to add 15, 16 points and the other stats too? Those are always factors. Because if Gordon's not going to get a lot of points, he's going to get 9. I need him boarding. I need him rebounding. I need him getting 8 to 10 rebounds. And he had, 3, 4? So the other stats got to play in too. So we're going to talk about it today. Tune into the whole show. If you guys are not in the northern Colorado area, you can always listen on 1310kfk.com. Utilize the TuneIn app. And, of course, we podcast everything. So wherever you get your podcasts, look for the whole show. And we want you to join us. Come talk to us. It's just fans talking about sports. So, all right, tune in today, 12 o'clock on 103.1 and 1310 KFK or 1310kfk.com. We'll talk soon.